Cruising on Disney as an adult without kids proved to be a much bigger roller coaster ride than all those Disney Cruise Line fans have told me, as you will see and hear. I'm Gary Bembridge, and this is what I experienced and what I discovered any adult, perhaps you, thinking of cruising Disney without kids absolutely needs to know. Now, before I talk about some of the highs and also the more challenging aspects, including uncomfortable interactions with parents on board, there is a belief that fans of Disney cruises have that I absolutely need to discuss and blow out the water. Before going, fans of the line told me it was a myth that I needed to be a Disney fan to have a great time, and many actively encourage non-Disney fans like me to go. Now, I found Disney Cruise Line to be a totally themed cruise. It was, as I expected, a Disney kingdom at sea. Disney was everywhere. It was woven into every single aspect of the cruise in some way. It's very different to any other cruise line I've been on. The minute I stepped aboard, I was immersed in this magic kingdom of Disney-ness. I was greeted by characters. The decor and the design of the ship had Disney woven in all over. Now, sometimes it was very overt, but if not, then it was intricate and hidden. So, for example, there were even hidden Mickeys in the roof of the adult-only specialty dining restaurant, Paolo. The shows were all Disney. On my cruise, there was Tangled, the story of Rapunzel, Disney Dreams, which was a compilation of kind of the greatest hits of Disney films, Twice Charmed, a reimagining of the Cinderella story, and then there was Once Upon a Song, a concert with lesser known Disney songs. All the films that were shown in the cinema were Disney, and the trivia was always Disney linked. The three main dining room restaurants were also themed, and most had some kind of show during the meals. And I was rotated around each of them each night, which happens on Disney. So in Disney Magic, I had Rapunzel's Royal Table. This was linked to the story of Tangled. Animator's Palette, which is all around Disney animation, and Lumiere's, which is linked to Beauty and the Beast. There were Disney characters popping out throughout the ship, like at the sail away party, the end of cruise party, the Frozen themed deck show. Characters popped up everywhere. There was Disney artwork all around the ship, and many guests of all ages wore Mickey ears or Disney merchandise, and many of the cabin doors had Disney themed door decorations put up by the guests. Almost all the shops were Disney merchandise related. I soon realized that if you do not know your Disney, you miss out on some of the nuances. For example, at Rapunzel's Royal Table dinner and show, I was actually confused. I didn't understand who the characters were or why it was being held as a birthday party. It wasn't until I saw Tangled, the show, some days later, that I appreciated who the characters were and the significance of the birthday. Even at the Frozen deck party I mentioned, I knew the song, of course, Let It Go, and that it's sung by Elsa, but I didn't understand who the other characters were and what they were doing and why some people cheered and why some people booed at them. So I think you miss out on some of the enjoyment if, like me, you don't know your Disney, or you're not traveling with someone who's really into Disney. I found the passengers were largely all big Disney fans. They knew everything Disney. The scores, for example, in the Disney trivia sessions proved that they were really, really high. And when the merchandise stores opened on the first night, they were totally mobbed by the guests wanting to get in and get the latest Disney merchandise. People kept asking me if I enjoyed the shows, which the line are famous for. The shows are impressive from a production value. They have an incredible cast of all ages. The staging is magnificent. It's probably some of the best I've seen on any cruise line. But if you don't like Disney shows, then you may not enjoy them. So I really, really enjoyed the production value of it, the scale of it. But the shows, as good as they were, by the end of the week, to be honest, I was craving some non-Disney shows too. So, for example, I did love, though, that I could go and see within my fare 2 of the new Marvel film releases, because then they are now part of the Disney world now. So I saw the new Thor film and I saw the new Doctor Strange film. What I would say, though, is they do the immersion and deliver the Disney theme incredibly well. Their attention to detail is amazing. I went on the Art of the Theme tour, which other guests constantly said that I should do. And this is where they explain much of the design and the detail. It was absolutely fascinating. The daily program is like other premium classic cruise ships. They have live music, trivia, cooking demonstrations, all those kind of activities. But they almost always had a Disney spin of some kind. So I came away believing that you do need to be a Disney fan or go with one to really appreciate and get the most out of the experience. I realized though that Disney fans don't necessarily appreciate how much people like me missed by not knowing the detail. I was worried before going that Disney wouldn't cater for adults like me without kids, and I was worried adult without kids would be treated with some kind of suspicion. Now this I did actually experience. I was filming the Thor character for this channel while he was interacting with a small child. This is actually what happened. This is what you can see in this clip actually I filmed. The kid's parent came up to me challenging me on why I was filming his kid. I explained to him my channel, how carefully I tried to be, and I showed him that I had stopped filming before showing his child. While he was reassured, he reminded me how worried and sensitive parents are, especially today. And while it made me uncomfortable, it did though drive home to me that on Disney, more than any other cruise line, kids and family are the focus and they're their priority. And as an adult without kids in tow, even more sensitivity, more space, more care is required than any other cruise line that I've been on, even those more family lines. Now saying that, over the rest of the cruise, of course, I came to appreciate that I was in fact surrounded by mostly adults traveling without kids. Now that's partly because of the time of the year I went, schools had just started, and I was going to the Norwegian fjords, which I'm not sure is a big kids kind of destination. I met many multi-generational groups. There might be, say, one small child, but then there were 5 or 6 or more adults of all different ages with them. Someone also reminded me there's probably up to 40 weeks a year when schools are in, so kids can't really go most of the time, so there are lots and lots of adults. There is lots of praise by Disney Cruise Line fans of the adult-only spaces on board. So how did I find these adult-only spaces? There are probably more dedicated adult-only spaces than on any other cruise line I've been on. So let's take a look at what they actually had. There was a pool deck which had the Signals Bar and the Cove Cafe. That at all times of the day and night is for 18 plus guests only, and it is really strictly enforced. The gym and the spa are also adult only. They then had After Dark, which after 9 p.m. was an adult only area. In there they had Fathoms, which is a lounge cabaret area where they hosted various things, silent discos, bingo, juggling lessons, a nightclub and so on, which was open to everybody until 9 p.m. After 9 o'clock they did run some adult comedy shows, some adult only events and game shows. Then there was Keys, a piano cocktail bar. There was also O'Gill's, which is a very popular Irish themed pub where they had adult only trivia and an Irish band performing in there after 9 p.m. There is, of course, no casino on board. On Disney Magic they had Paolo, which is the Italian specialty dining adult only restaurant. Amazing food, fabulous service. On other ships they have Remy, which is a more French orientated place, and some of the new ships I believe have both of those, like on Wish and the New Treasure. As good as they are, I personally think that the adult spaces are slightly overhyped in terms of what they are in practice. Now during the day, the pool deck, bar and cafe is a really good adult only space, but in the evening you do need to be a night owl or be a drinker, because all of those places in there are basically drinking or party places, and they're only then kid and teen free after 9 p.m. Now, of course, this arrangement probably suits many travelers. One thing I missed was there was no quieter non-kid or non-full-on Disney alternative to dining. There was only Paolo, which effectively I could only go to once. You can go twice if you go on embarkation day, but of course you then also have to pay. It was $45 per person at the time of recording. The buffet restaurant Cabanas was closed for dinner, and I believe on some cruises when it does open, it's then a seated table service only. Duck-In, which was serving so-so burgers, was open at night, so that was an option, or I could have done room service. But it's really hard to have an adult-only non-themed, not too boisterous show kind of dinner option. Many fans told me before I went that the food was amazing, among the best in the premium category they compete with. So lines like Holland America, Princess, Virgin, Cunard, Pinot Cruises UK, those kind of lines. Now I wasn't as impressed with the food as I thought that I would be. I did though find the menus large and the food on Disney was good. But it wasn't, in my view, as good as, say, Celebrity or Virgin, which is in the same category as them. It probably, though, was on par with Cunard, Holland America, and though was definitely better than Princess and P&O. So it's kind of a mid-range in the category when it came to food, I guess, which was a surprise. However, on the plus side, I liked that I could request any table size I wanted. So on the first day as a solo adult traveler, I could ask for a table by myself, which was great, but also I could have joined other similar solo or other adult travelers or couples if I preferred that as well. The second area that was mixed was adult-only excursions. They did have some, not many, but they sold out really quickly even before the cruise went. However, on the plus side, if you're going to the Caribbean and going to Castaway Cay, they have a whole area called Serenity Bay, which is adult only. Thirdly, when it comes to cabins, there's a couple of other things that I found were important as an adult traveler. The beds in most of the cabins are set as a queen bed, but unlike other cruise lines, they don't split into twins. So that's important if you're traveling, say, with a friend, not a partner, and you're used to having more twin beds. Many of the cabins also have split bathrooms, which is a big plus because you have a toilet and hand basin in one, and then you have a shower, which is in bath, and a basin in another. But they are, because they split, I guess, relatively tight. A couple of people had said to me before I went, they found them a little bit cramped for adults. Now I'm tall, I'm 6'2", and it was a little bit cramped, I guess. You do, though, also need to make sure that as an adult, you avoid the decks with kids clubs because there's lots of back and forth, when those are going. And also make sure that you get one without an interconnecting door because you'll often find that you're going to have a family or something in the room next door. Fourthly, another plus for many adult travelers that I spoke to was that the dress code is very casual. I could wear shorts and t-shirts if I wanted to for dinner, and many people did. They do have a formal night, they also have a semi-formal night, but it's not a strict must dress up. So whilst they do have those adult areas and touches like that, I did feel though that they were mostly giving me a space where I could escape or retreat to, especially during the day. They, in my view, though, work still best if you're a Disney fan first and foremost, and all you want to do is have some spaces where you can escape to and get some respite from. Now, I relaxed into traveling as an adult without kids in the end, despite that incident and concerns, because there were loads of adults around. There were loads of couples, solos, groups traveling together. And I guess, in fact, on many cruises, adults are the majority, like the one that I was on. But the key thing, if you want to go on Disney as an adult, focus on out of school vacation time, focus out of the big holiday seasons, and probably go on itineraries like I did to the fjords, go on longer cruises. But I do believe that you must be a Disney fan, go with one, or certainly brush up on Disney. Now, if you do want to go on a Disney cruise, watch this video where I've put 13 things that will make your Disney cruise better, starting with the biggest thing I wish I had sorted out before boarding. It's a big one. See you over there.